Israel's new $500 million fighter jet has changed the game, wiping out Palestinian defenses before they even know what's coming. These stealth planes fire missiles at Mach 6, so fast that radar can't detect them in time. This top-secret Darkstar program, based on the legendary SR-71 Blackbird but far more deadly, is reshaping modern warfare. Will this unstoppable weapon finally shift the decades-old conflict? And what happens when Russia and China bring out their hypersonic jets? Join us as we uncover what's at stake when Israel uses its $500 million generation fighter jet against Palestine. The war in Israel has dragged on far too long, a relentless clash where every new weapon is met with an equal force, keeping victory just out of reach. But that deadlock will be shattered the moment Israel gets its hands on the SR-72 Darkstar. This hypersonic ghost, developed for the United States, moves so fast that it has already disappeared by the time its roar is heard. With it, Israel wouldn't just control the skies, it would decide the fate of the battlefield. Unlike ordinary aircraft, the SR-72 is built to change the way wars are fought. Still in development at Lockheed Martin, it aims to reach speeds of Mach 6, equivalent to about 7,350 kilometers per hour. At that speed, it could travel from New York to Los Angeles in just 30 minutes. Instead of relying on stealth to avoid detection, this aircraft is designed to outrun anything that tries to stop it. The SR-72 follows in the footsteps of the SR-71 Blackbird, an aircraft that flew reconnaissance missions at over 4,000 kilometers per hour during the Cold War. More than 4,000 missiles were fired at the Blackbird, yet none ever hit their target. The new SR-72 is set to be even faster, using a combination of jet propulsion and a hypersonic engine known as a GPVRD. Speed is not the only challenge. Flying at Mach 6 generates extreme heat, which requires special materials that can withstand temperatures high enough to melt most metals. Engineers have been working on solutions to ensure the aircraft remains stable and functional at such high speeds. The SR-72 is not just about speed, it will also carry specialized missiles that can strike targets in minutes. This gives it a huge advantage in modern warfare, especially for countries like Israel, which face multiple security threats. While Israel's F-35 fighter jets are highly advanced, they reach only Mach 1.6, which is less than one-third the speed of the Darkstar. Lockheed Martin believes this aircraft could change the way nations think about defense. With hypersonic speeds, an attack could be launched and completed before the enemy has time to react. The SR-72 is being developed in both piloted and unpiloted versions, making it capable of gathering intelligence and striking targets without relying on additional aircraft. If everything goes according to plan, the SR-72 could be ready for service by 2030. Lockheed Martin has been testing its components since 2018, preparing for the future of hypersonic warfare. But the United States is not alone in this race. Russia and China are also developing their own hypersonic aircraft and weapons, with projects like Russia's Avangard glide vehicle and China's DF-17 missile. For the general public, hypersonic flight may seem like something out of science fiction, with the potential to reduce long-distance travel times to under an hour. But for military leaders, the SR-72 is much more than that. It represents a major shift in warfare, one where speed alone could determine the outcome of future conflicts. While the SR-72 is designed to reshape warfare, its real impact depends on how it stacks up against the fighter jets currently protecting Israel's skies. The SR-72 is built for extreme speed, while the F-35 excels in stealth and agility. But is speed alone enough, or does modern air combat require a balance of strengths? The F-35 Lightning II sits on the runway, its sharp angles designed to stay hidden from radar. For years, it has been a top choice for air forces in the United States, NATO, and Israel. But a shift is happening, one that could replace stealth with speed as the future of air combat. Despite its advanced technology and massive $80 million price tag, the F-35 has clear limitations. At full power, it reaches a maximum speed of Mach 1.6, about 1,930 kilometers per hour. To do this, it relies on an afterburner, which burns fuel rapidly, wears down the engine, and makes the jet more visible by producing a large heat signature. Without this extra boost, the F-35 remains subsonic, flying below Mach 1 to conserve fuel and maintain engine health. Meanwhile, rival aircraft from Russia and China already outmatch it in speed. The Russian Su-35, an older generation fighter, can hit Mach 2.3, almost 45% faster than the F-35 top speed. Even on regular flights, the Su-35 cruises at Mach 1.1, which is already faster than how the F-35 usually operates. Speed matters in air combat. A faster jet can control when and where to fight, reach targets more quickly, and avoid threats with ease. The SR-71 Blackbird, a Cold War-era spy plane, proved that no missile could catch an aircraft that moved fast enough. But today, stealth isn't enough. Advanced air defense systems, like Russia's S-400 and S-500, are designed to detect stealth planes before they get close. These systems use multiple radar frequencies and powerful computing to track even the most advanced stealth aircraft. Once spotted, the F-35's slower speed puts it at risk. Israel's Air Force has tried to work around these issues. The F-35 won a dear version, includes Israeli-made technology and customized weapons, but it still can't overcome the jet's speed limitations. The F-35 was mainly designed for striking ground targets, sneaking in, delivering attacks, and leaving quickly. In dogfights where speed and agility are critical, it has struggled against older F-16s in training exercises. The SR-72 takes a completely different approach. Instead of avoiding radar, it outruns any threat. At Mach 6, it could cross the Mediterranean Sea in just 12 minutes, making it nearly impossible to intercept with current defense systems. However, building a plane this fast is a massive challenge. At hypersonic speeds, friction from the air generates extreme heat, over 1,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt most metals. Engineers at Lockheed Martin have had to create special materials and cooling systems to keep the plane intact at such high temperatures. Fuel is another issue. Flying at Mach 6 burns enormous amounts of fuel. While the SR-72's engine design is built for efficiency, it still has a shorter range compared to slower jets. Military leaders will need to use it carefully, reserving it for the most critical missions. For a country like Israel, where threats are close by, the SR-72 offers a major advantage. A jet that can reach any target in the Middle East within minutes changes both offensive and defensive strategies. Dangers could be eliminated before they escalate. This shift from stealth to speed marks a turning point in military aviation. For decades, radar invisibility was the main goal, leading to aircraft like the F-117 Nighthawk, B-2 Spirit, and F-35. Now, the SR-72 suggests that future battles may not be won by the jet that can't be seen, but by the one that can't be caught. With defense budgets under pressure worldwide, military planners face tough decisions. The F-35 program has already cost over $1.7 trillion, making it the most expensive weapon system ever. The SR-72 won't come cheap either, but its unmatched speed and power could make it a game changer for nations facing advanced threats. What allows this incredible speed to happen, and how could it completely change the way countries fight wars in the future? At the core of the SR-72 Darkstar is its groundbreaking engine, possibly the most advanced propulsion system ever built for an aircraft. This isn't just an upgrade of existing technology. It's a completely new way of thinking about high-speed flight. The SR-72's engine combines two different propulsion systems into one, solving a challenge that has troubled engineers for years. No single engine can efficiently handle speeds from a standstill to hypersonic levels. To overcome this, engineers at Lockheed Martin and Aerojet Rocketdyne spent years developing what they call a turbine-based combined cycle system. At lower speeds, the aircraft relies on a jet turbine, similar to those used in commercial planes, but designed to handle speeds up to Mach 3. Once the SR-72 accelerates past that point, the second system, a scramjet, kicks in. Unlike regular jet engines, scramjets have no moving parts. They use the aircraft's own speed to compress incoming air, which gets so hot that it ignites fuel without needing a spark. This makes scramjets highly efficient for extreme speeds, but they can't function at lower speeds, which is why the SR-72 needs both systems working together. This technology builds on lessons from previous experimental aircraft like the HTV-2, which reached Mach 20 in test flights. However, unlike the HTV-2, which was launched by a rocket, the SR-72 is designed to take off and land like a normal plane. Flying this fast comes with major engineering challenges. At Mach 6, air molecules hit the aircraft's surface with so much force that they act almost like solid objects, generating extreme heat. Standard aircraft materials would melt, so the SR-72 uses carbon-carbon composites similar to those found on spacecraft. Fuel storage is another challenge, as extreme speeds can cause fuel to overheat before it even reaches the engine. To counter this, engineers developed a cooling system that uses fuel itself to absorb heat, making combustion more efficient while preventing breakdowns. The impact of this technology extends far beyond speed. In military strategy, decision-making follows a process called the OODA loop, meaning observe, orient, decide, act. The SR-72 drastically shortens this timeline, making it possible to strike before an enemy even has time to react. A traditional airstrike requires hours of planning, coordination, and execution. The SR-72 could reduce this to minutes. This shift could change global military strategies, creating both advantages and risks. For countries like Israel, which operate in a region with constant security threats, the ability to reach any target in the Middle East within minutes would be a game changer. Other nations understand the power of hypersonic technology and are racing to develop their own. Russia has already introduced the avant-garde hypersonic glide vehicle, and China's DF-17 missile system has demonstrated speeds that caught Western analysts by surprise. Beyond military applications, this technology could revolutionize global transportation. A civilian version of the SR-72 could reduce long-distance travel times dramatically, potentially making it possible to fly across the Atlantic in under an hour. While ticket prices would be high at first, advancements in technology could make it more accessible over time. Building the SR-72 will not be cheap. The total cost remains classified, but estimates suggest it will require billions of dollars before the first operational aircraft is ready. As hypersonic technology develops, countries will need to establish new agreements on its use. The ability to strike so quickly could increase the risk of miscalculation in global conflicts, making diplomacy more critical than ever. As advanced aircraft like the SR-72 reshape modern warfare, could the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine become a battleground for this new technology? The land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea has a long history, but the conflict shaping it today began more recently. In the late 1800s, a movement called Zionism emerged among European Jews who wanted to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine, which was then part of the Ottoman Empire. Jewish settlers began arriving in 1882. At the time, the region was mostly Arab, with small Jewish and Christian communities. As more settlers arrived, tensions grew because local Arabs feared losing their land and way of life. World War I changed the region's fate. The Ottoman Empire collapsed and Britain took control of Palestine. In 1917, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for a Jewish national home in Palestine. This set the stage for future conflicts. Under British rule, Jewish immigration increased, especially as Jews fled persecution in Europe, including Nazi Germany. By the 1930s, clashes between Arabs and Jews had become frequent. In 1936, Palestinians revolted against British rule and Jewish immigration. The uprising lasted 3 years before it was suppressed. After World War II and the Holocaust, international support for a Jewish state grew. The United Nations proposed splitting Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. Jewish leaders accepted, but Arab leaders rejected the plan. In 1948, when Britain withdrew, Jewish leaders declared Israel's independence. War broke out immediately. Arab armies invaded, but Israeli forces prevailed. Over half of the Palestinian Arab population was displaced, an event Palestinians refer to as the Nakba, meaning catastrophe. By the war's end, Israel controlled more land than the UN had allocated, while Jordan took the West Bank and Egypt took Gaza. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights. Sinai was later returned to Egypt in a peace deal, but Israel has controlled the West Bank and Gaza for more than 56 years, making it the longest military occupation in modern history. Palestinians under occupation face many restrictions. Israel controls borders, resources, and movement, with checkpoints limiting travel. Many Palestinians need special permits to enter Jerusalem, a city sacred to both Muslims and Jews. Since the 1970s, Israel has built settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, where only Israeli citizens can live. These settlements now house about 700,000 people. Roads connecting them bypass Palestinian towns, making daily life and economic growth difficult. International organizations consider these settlements illegal, but Israel disputes this. In 2018, Israel passed the nation-state law, stating that only Jewish people have the right to national self-determination in Israel. Critics argue this creates two classes of citizens, with fewer rights for non-Jews. Human rights organizations have increasingly described Israeli policies as a form of apartheid, meaning a system where one group dominates another. In July 2024, the International Court of Justice ruled that Israeli policies violate international laws against racial discrimination. Palestinians have resisted the occupation in different ways. Two major uprisings, called intifadas, happened in 1987 and 2000. These included protests, boycotts, and violence. Israel responded with military force, leading to thousands of deaths, mostly Palestinian. In Gaza, the Hamas group won elections in 2006 and took full control in 2007. Israel then imposed a blockade, restricting the movement of goods and people. Since then, Israel and Hamas have fought multiple wars, with the latest beginning in October 2023 after Hamas attacks on Israel. Efforts to resolve the conflict have focused on creating two separate states, Israel and Palestine. While many countries and Palestinian leaders support this, Israel's government has moved away from the idea in recent years, and public support for it has declined on both sides. The conflict continues to shape life for millions. Palestinians seek freedom from occupation and the right to govern themselves, while Israelis prioritize security and their historical connection to the land. With deep divisions and ongoing violence, finding a solution remains one of the world's most difficult challenges. Shaped by conflict, Israel upgrades its fleet and eyes a game-changing aircraft. How is it preparing for future air warfare? When it comes to advanced fighter jets, the F-35 Lightning II stands out. It's a stealthy, versatile aircraft used by the United States, NATO allies, and Israel. Israel was one of the first countries outside the United States to get it. While the F-35 has impressive technology, to stay ahead, Israel has made classified upgrades to its F-35s, likely improving radar, electronic warfare systems, and weapons. But military leaders know these enhancements won't be enough for the future. Next-generation aircraft are changing air combat, and the United States is leading with its NGAD program. A key project is the SR-72, known as the Son of Blackbird. Inspired by the SR-71, this aircraft is expected to reach Mach 6, making it the fastest military jet ever. Unlike the SR-71, which was built for surveillance, the SR-72 will carry hypersonic missiles, allowing it to strike targets at extreme speeds. It uses a combined engine system, switching from a jet engine to a scramjet to sustain hypersonic travel. This technology makes it nearly impossible to intercept, giving it a major edge in modern warfare. With unmatched speed and firepower, the SR-72 could change military strategy, providing rapid surveillance and long-range strikes. Though details remain secret, its potential to dominate future air combat is clear. Unlike traditional fighter jets, the SR-72's extreme speed would make it nearly impossible to intercept, giving it a major advantage in both surveillance and attack missions. Armed with hypersonic missiles, it could strike high-value targets deep inside enemy territory before defenses have time to respond. This capability would not only change the way wars are fought, but also serve as a powerful deterrent, as few nations can counter such a weapon. Although Israel has not officially announced plans to acquire the SR-72, its strong military partnership with the United States makes it a potential candidate for future adoption. Having access to hypersonic aircraft would enhance Israel's ability to respond to regional threats swiftly and decisively. For now, Israel is focusing on upgrading its existing fleet, particularly its F-35s, with advanced modifications tailored for operations in the Middle East. These enhancements include improved electronic warfare systems, upgraded radar, and custom software designed for Israeli defense strategies. While these changes provide an edge in modern aerial combat, military leaders understand that future conflicts will demand even greater speed, stealth, and firepower. As global powers race to develop next-generation military technology, Israel remains vigilant, ensuring its air force stays ahead. Whether through upgraded F-35s or cutting-edge hypersonic jets, Israel is preparing for a future where dominance in the skies will be determined by speed, precision, and technological superiority. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.